Here we are.
Mm-hmm.
We're live. Hello, my friends.
Dun dun dun.
I'm going to unbag these books so we can talk about them in a little while.
And all the ships at sea.
Nobody's watching yet. Somebody just showed up. Who's
Somebody's
watching?
always watching. Or they'll watch later.
I can always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy.
Oh.
Who sang that song?
Rockwell.
Rockwell?
Yes.
I couldn't tell you that if I had money writing on it.
Me either. Wow, Rockwell. I don't even remember that being a person or a band.
I think it's a band because the chorus is Michael Jackson as a guest star.
Oh, okay.
That's the part everybody remembers.
Yeah, I remember that too. I don't remember it being Michael Jackson, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kept hidden for years. Kind of like Cyndi Lauper doing the theme song for Pee-wee's Playhouse. That was announced this year. Or at least within the last 2 years.
Or Eddie Van Halen playing the guitar in Michael Jackson's Beat It.
Oh, no, that was how I knew that my rock station was going pop. Back in, what was it?
There's Donald Rex. Hi, Donald.
Hello.
Hello there. What year did Beat It come out?
85 or 86?
No, it was earlier than that. I was still in high school.
I want to say 80.
Hey, Higgy. What's up?
Hello there. But anyway, I can still remember it because I was working at the Marian Shrine, which is a public religious shrine. And I was an assistant cook there and had to feed the priests and whoever else came by. They had like guests and people who stayed over on retreats. So I think it was 1982. Okay.
What is in Thriller then?
So I used to like there was 3 different areas we had to feed people. There was the cafeteria where, on the weekends, maybe they'd have some camp there. There was the dining room, which was where they'd have retreats where people would come up, like groups of 20 to 40 would come up and, I don't know, contemplate Jesus or something as they hung out on the grounds. And then they would feed them lunch and dinner usually. And then the other room I had to feed was the priests who lived on the grounds. There was anywhere from 5 to 12 of them. So they had their own dining room. So on especially Saturday nights, they'd all get together and eat there. And then I think I had to clean up after them too. And I used to take my boombox in and play music as I cleaned up in the, dance along as I'm cleaning up in the dining room. And I can still remember, like the station I used to listen to is WPLJ, which was then, a rock station, what we now call classic rock. But it was a rock station then. And all of a sudden, and stations used to flip formats every now and then. A rock station would become a pop station, a top 40 station. Top 40 station would become something else. They would switch every now and then. But that had been the rock station I'd been listening to for, 4 or 5 years from when I was, 12 to 16 and I'm sitting there and washing up going, and all of a sudden I hear the beginning of Beat It. And that station did not play top 40 music. And I was like, because it was Michael Jackson. And they're like, and here is Eddie Van Halen and Michael Jackson's Beat It. And I was like, that ain't Eddie Van Halen's Beat It. That's Michael Jackson's Beat It. And over the next couple of weeks, they transitioned into a top 40 station, and I never listened to them again.
But the other one that generally,
that's how I knew Eddie Van Halen played on that.
Yeah, he explained. I think he explained once that when he decided to record it, who's gonna know? Yeah, the other one that people usually don't know that isn't credited in the album. Sting played. Sting said that I want my MTV line. And played did the harmonies in the chorus. and
Right.
money for nothing.
Right. That they announced that on the radio. I think that's how I know that, because they didn't announce it on the radio. I didn't know it.
Right.
The other one that they didn't announce at the time was that Fab and Rob did not sing in
No.
"Girl You Know It's True."
That was
Although
not announced.
"Girl You Know It's True" is by Milli Vanilli is a cover. The original version was by an electro rap group called New Marks, in which one of the members later became one member of the house music production team, Basement Boys, and I think they worked with what was the name? Crystal Waters.
Uh-huh. Well, I did it, Paolo. I read all the text pieces in Watchmen.
Captain
Hello there,
Infinity's here.
Captain Infinity.
Hello.
Yes.
I didn't reread Watchmen. Hello there, Sleepy.
Hello,
But
Sleepy.
I did read the text pieces.
Did
Just
it
because Paolo
enhance
said
it?
they're good.
Did it change your viewpoint on the Watchmen?
I had read them originally,
Oh,
but that was
okay.
so long ago.
I thought you always bypassed it.
Oh no,
every time
I've
you
only
okay.
read The Watchmen twice.
Okay.
Oh, there's some balloons for you. The first time I read The Watchmen, I read it with all the text pieces. The second time I read The Watchmen, a few years later, it was probably like 1990, maybe. I skipped the pirate story and I skipped the text pieces. So to say, I did read the text pieces just in 1986. So
Right.
You're missing
hello
Mars.
there, Missing Mars.
Hello. Welcome.
But I have to say, I really enjoyed them. I think they got weaker at the end. I think the first, what is it, 3 text pieces are from, and I'd also forgotten that who is it? The Owl, what's his name? The Owl Man?
Night Owl.
Night Owl. The Night Owl in The Watchmen is the second Night Owl.
Yeah.
I had just forgotten that. So the first 3 text pieces are written by the original Night Owl.
Right.
Because I was going, what's going on? How can he be around? And I'm like, oh, that's right. They mentioned that like in the 3rd text piece. I was like, oh, that's right. He took over. But those first 3 ones really give you a lot of background into the the Watchmen world before Watchmen.
Yeah.
And then so those 3, I think, were the most interesting. Then we have what came after that? Dr. Manhattan, Superpower and the Superpower. So this one is about Dr. Manhattan and his effect on the world. And I still remember the line, the Superman exists and he's American. That's the line that stood out to me, even though he said God exists and he's an American.
Yep.
So that line I remembered all these years later. Just like I remember there's another. So that one was all about, the background of Dr. Manhattan. So I enjoyed that. That was good. And then the next one, what was it? Oh, I thought it was pretty interesting. A Man on 15 Dead Men's Chest. It was the fake history of pirate comics.
Right.
Because the reason there's a pirate comic in here is because pirate comics were the most popular comics in this Watchmen world. It wasn't superheroes, it was pirate comics. And they actually, like in the hit, they call them adventurers generally, because like in the golden age, like with the first Night Owl, it was mostly people putting on costumes and having an adventure, fighting crime. There were no real superpowers. So I love comic history. Even a little fake comic history is fun.
Yeah, and it would make sense in a world where there are superheroes. Your entertainment might be something else.
Right.
And so he happened to pick pirates.
And there were superheroes. And the superhero comics were popular back in the 40s when the superheroes were around, but they kind of faded away and were much like the Silver Age comics, the superheroes came back in the 60s.
Mm.
And then the 80s, when they were coming back again, is when they were all like Night Owl was middle-aged in the 80s.
Yeah, and the guy that they had drawing the pirate story, is a little bit of a parallel to Fletcher Hanks, because he was very innovative.
First they had Joe Orlando. He did
Right.
the original 9 issues.
Mhm.
Oh, then Fletcher Hanks was the parallel on the second
No,
guy?
not directly, because
Right.
Fletcher Hanks disappeared in 1940.
Mhm.
But it's kind of the same story. The guy does a bunch of comics. Everybody loves him, and then everybody loves what he's doing, and then he disappears. Of course, Fletcher Hanks, what was later found about him, when the other guy tracked down his family, was that Fletcher Hanks was not a very nice person at all.
Oh, that's right. That's in that book I have on Fletcher Hanks. They mention that.
Yeah.
He had some kids who he abandoned, right? And then when they finally tracked him down, they're like, "Oh, Dad's a jerk."
Yeah. Captain Finity bought Starstruck. Yeah, I bought Starstruck a few years ago. Took me a while to get started, and then I was like in chapter 3, and oh man, I'm gonna put this down for a while because that thing is dense. It's not very deep, but it is dense.
And it's not one coherent story either. I read
Right.
all of it for the first time on that big oversized edition they came out with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And which looks beautiful. It's a beautiful book, got beautiful art. But I read it all the way through, but I was not impressed by it, just because it was clearly something they were doing one short story at a time.
Right.
And if they had a different idea for the next short story, they'd abandon what was ever in the first short. I don't want to say it's bad. It's just not a coherent whole. So it's a little weird. Now, let's see. The next one was The History of Rorschach. And I found this one, It's really just establishing that it's really just establishing that there's something wrong with him mentally, and he had a bad childhood.
Yeah, and we get into how the psychiatrist's brain works a little bit, because he is doing it for the fame and the clout. He does. You can see that he wants to be the guy who cures the crazy man Rorschach.
Right.
Of course, he'll never have the chance.
And the name of the place he was in was the Charlton Home. So a reference to Charlton comics there.
Yep.
So that one was okay, but it didn't, like I said, I think I liked the early ones best. What else do we have here? This one, I was like, what? Blood from the Shoulder of Pallas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This one. The following text is reprinted from the Journal of the American Ornithology Society, fall 1983.
Because in the story, Daniel mentions that he writes for an ornithology magazine because he doesn't have to do anything. So to pass the time, he does it. And that text, Alan Moore wrote it perfectly, because perfectly dry, as in. A guy who's very poetic, but has nothing to say.
Right. And he immediately sets up like a false dichotomy. And I'm like, I know Alan Moore did that on purpose.
Yeah.
And the whole thing reads too realistic. It's a boring article that's trying to be deep that really isn't.
Yeah.
And it succeeds in being what it's supposed to be. It's just not supposed to be anything that interesting.
Right.
As opposed to the first 3, which were the history of the early superheroes, which is supposed to be interesting.
Right. But you can't read that at face value.
I know. But it doesn't matter. It's still boring.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
A writer purposely trying to write a boring article is still boring.
So he did his job.
He did his job. I'm just saying that's not my favorite of the.
Yeah.
Right.
And the next we have an issue of the New Frontiersman, which is the conservative the conservative newspaper that's pro superhero. And that brings me up to another thing. There's a timeless quality to Watchmen, but there's also a deeply embedded in the 1980s quality to Watchmen at the same time, especially rereading these text pieces. There's unless you were there in the 1980s, I don't quite there, especially in the Reagan Thatcher era, there was this sort of idea that nuclear war could break out with the USSR at any time. That like permeated so much stuff, and it certainly permeates this.
Sure, yeah. The paranoia and the conspiracy theories of the 80s are different from the paranoia and conspiracy theories of today.
And it was also funny reading this conservative New Frontiersman.
Yeah.
When it was accusing the liberals of making up all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, it's also that thing that only happens in America, which is the newspapers think they're supposed to editorialize. Well, here in Europe, well, there's always some leaning, but the right to editorialize must be earned. You don't start your own newspaper so you can tell other people what to think.
Right. And let's see, the next one was an interview with Sally Jupiter, the Silk Spectre.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was a very good one.
This one was solid. I enjoyed it. It gave us a little more insight into her and what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
But it was also kind of just letting us get to know this one character more. I think there was a little, but I enjoyed that one, especially after the New Frontiersman and the one before it, the Bird one. I think that picked up again for me, that Sally Jupiter one. And then what was there? The one that was Ozymandias going over the toys.
Yeah, I like that one a lot because just as we are about to reach the climax, Moore takes the time to use the text pieces to tell us how cool a guy Ozymandias is.
I can say I didn't think of that, but what struck me about this one is how common it is now, how much of a cliche it is now for the superheroes to be interested in toys and marketing. And it's like that wasn't the way it was in 1986. But now it's kind of like there've been lots of comic book characters who are all about grabbing the spotlight and having a toy line and this and that. That's like a standard thing in certain comics now. It was interesting to read back then the sort of genesis of it, where he was really getting into his toy line there and saying what's good and what's not, and so it was interesting to read that. And then the last one, after the Masquerade, was just getting to know Ozymandias a little more.
Yeah, that's the liberal journalist from the other magazine, the one who exposes Dr. Manhattan's cancer.
Right. So this one was okay, but I could see it was really just letting us know a little bit more about Ozymandias before the big reveal.
I've also noticed, because I'm a journalist, it's that typical pop magazine where you spend the day with your subject, and what comes out is like 10-minute conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very quick interview. You don't need to have lunch with the guy to record that. But he was flown into Antarctica, and they had lunch, and he took the time to observe everything, and and half of the text piece is the guy editorializing about what he's seeing instead of what he talked about with who he's supposed to be one of the most interesting men in the world.
Mm-hmm. It was fluff.
Yeah, definitely fluff. Yeah.
Yep.
Donald says, yesterday I picked up 50 beat up 80s Warren mags. Yes, and Donald did a video
I
on it.
saw the video, and I meant 1994. I read one issue of 1984 back in the day, and it was terrible.
Yeah. Star Trek is going to be a book that I like even. Yeah, Star Trek is going to be a book that I like even more now than as a teenager. Brucilla the Muscle, Erotica Anne.
Awesome. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Starstruck. It's just not a coherent whole story.
So many people these days don't even have the attention span to. Oh. Yeah. Damien says Reagan was always joking about pressing the button.
Yeah. That was a real thing. We all thought nuclear war could happen at any moment.
Yeah,
it wasn't Frank like Miller, we thought about it every day, but we thought about it enough.
Frank Miller does it in Electra Assassin.
Yeah.
We had fallout drills.
Oh yeah.
Where we had to go in the hallway and just sit down and put our heads between our legs and
the generation before us had to get under their desks and put their head between the legs. We had to go out into the hallway because schools were all made of concrete cinder block.
Yeah.
And sit down against the concrete wall and put our head between our legs.
And
we did that in grade school all the time.
Yeah, and movies like The Day After did not help the paranoia. It might have helped more of the understanding we shouldn't do this.
Right.
But man, nightmares of just looking out the window and seeing a mushroom cloud was constant for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alan Moore, the 70s obsession with Nixon in Vietnam, which the fact that you guys lost the Vietnam War kind of sets up the whole of the 80s USA politics.
Yeah, that was still going on. That was definitely didn't get over losing the Vietnam War for a long time. That's why there's so many Vietnam veteran movies in the first half of the 80s, especially.
Yeah. Donald was in his 30s during the 80s. All about music. Yeah. Yeah, and that's why they came up with. I think that's why they came up with that thing. UNICEF became very, very fashionable in the 80s, and they did the USA for Africa song. Right. Then it was followed up by other songs of the same type, all connected to some type of charity. The whole of the let's help the poor of the world was a way of distracting people from the politics at home. Even in Europe, we kind of felt that, and I was like 6 or 7 when I think I was 6 when USA for Africa, We Are the World came out.
Mm-hmm.
Two Tribes song and video by Frankie Goes to Hollywood sums up that mid-80s zeitgeist nicely. I don't know Two Tribes.
Yeah, I don't know that one either. But I do know the Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss. Do you know that one? That was an anti-war book that he put out where the two sides were going to war because one group of people buttered their bread on top and the other on the bottom.
Of course. Yeah, but that's a take on.
But but a lot of that was going on even to the 60s with Star Trek being black on one side and white on the other side.
Yeah, and it's kind of, both are a bit of a take on the Voyages of Gulliver, because you have the guys who ate the egg from the big end and the others who ate the egg from the little end.
Red skies at night. Oh,
right. Red skies. Which one's that? Oh, what up?
Not just.
It's SBPT.
You know what? Thought that, like I said, I just read the text pieces. I didn't even read the comic. But no, it gave me a thought. I just saw a video about the comic too recently. That you know how they say any realistic war movie is also an anti-war movie? I think any anti-fascist book is also pro-fascist. Not because the author intends it, but because people are attracted to power. Like a lot of people read this book and they didn't get an anti-fascist message. They wanted to be Rorschach.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the same thing happened to the Starship Troopers movie.
Yeah.
And the book, for a certain extent, that people didn't realize those are anti-fascist stories.
The book wasn't anti-fascist.
The book wasn't.
No.
Okay, I thought the book was
No.
anti-war.
Robert Heinlein is very much let's bomb everyone.
Okay,
and it's not. And if you read more than 2 of his books, you'll figure, man, this guy.
He was.
Okay, I only saw reviews mostly about the movie. And
The book and the movie are nothing alike.
Oh, okay.
Nothing alike. I read a lot of Robert. I read a lot of Robert Heinlein in my teenage into college years. He tends to be. His politics are weird because he's conservative on a lot of military stuff, but he's also free love and has an obsession of sleeping with his mother. So when I say it's really weird, it's really weird. Have you read much Heinlein, Paolo?
I've read 2 books, I think.
Okay.
And I haven't read one in a while. But they were. Which one was it that I read the last? I can't remember. But yeah,
I read all mine years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you notice that is all about military power and
yes, there's a lot of that in there. And he also has said in his book, mm-hmm. You shouldn't be able to vote if you didn't join the military. That's one of his weird conservative beliefs. And he's got most of his conservative beliefs revolve around the military. But then then he's into free love. Like, what was that one? Is one of his most famous books, what's his Stranger book name? Stranger in a Strange Land?
Yes.
That one's this 60s hippie free love book. And it's like not really like a lot of his other ones. And it's just like, what? And then, like I said, he actually, one of his most famous characters, Lazarus Long, who early Wolverine was actually based off of. Yeah, Stranger in a Strange Land. I knew Sleepy would know it. First sci-fi book ever. But that one's really, it's like a space hippie free love book. It's very strange. I found that to be the strangest of his books.
Rorschach is the hero?
My bad.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't realize. and when the first time I read it, I was 15, and yeah, of course Rorschach's the hero. He beats up bad guys.
Yeah. Sleepy said he was a conservative libertarian swinger. Yeah.
It's not so much about free love, but he's about the idea that the leader should have sex with all the men in the tribe, with all the women in the tribe.
Maybe he was actually what term did he coin? Grok. I think that was his. That came from Stranger in a Strange Land. I grok this. That's what his free love guy said. But Lazarus Long, who early Wolverine was based on, Chris Claremont even said it back in the day, right down to the bub, because Lazarus Long said bub.
Mm-hmm.
And Lazarus Long was the one who was this wise kind of character, but he was also the one involved in time travel who was obsessed with going back and sleeping with his mother. And it was just like, what? Where does this come from?
No, because one of the Lazarus Long books has a guy coming back. He's part of an experiment, but how much of part of the experiment he actually is not really quite understood, because the other people in the experiment, they live like up to 200 years old, and Lazarus Long is much older than that.
Right.
And he says he's not interested in sleeping in having sex back into the bloodline.
Right.
So I guess that's a later change. Proto Marty McFly. I read about Heinlein, Hubbard, and the editor of Analog. They all slept with each other's wives.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah, a bunch of the science fiction writers of that era, they're all sex maniacs.
Huh.
Stephen Fry from Futurama, yep.
But like, I think most people read Watchmen and come out of it wanting to be the superheroes.
Mm-hmm.
That's where their sympathy lies. And it's supposed to be that the superheroes are fascists. But everybody wants to be the comedian. He was cool. He had power. Everybody wants to be Ozymandias. He was cool. He had power. So
when it comes down to it, the comedian is attractive because he's the most true to himself, the most honest character. Yeah, he kills people. That's what he does.
Doesn't
he's
matter
not ashamed of it.
Murderer, rapist.
Yeah, he doesn't. He knows what he has to do, and he likes his job.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't accuse the guy of being of lying to people or whatever. I mean, I suppose that the one who betrays the ideal is Ozymandias, because either you think that he should have found a way of solving of stopping the war, which he starts because he's the one that drives Dr. Manhattan away. So he's the one who starts the war preparations. So if he had done nothing, the status quo would have been maintained. But he didn't want the status quo. He didn't like the status quo. So he creates a situation that only he can solve. He puts the world in danger so that he can be the hero. So in the end, he's the one who betrays everything that it means to be a hero. And then you have the other guys. He should have done that because who cares that people died if you have to save the planet?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to be Batman. Who really wants to be Owlman?
That's because they made Owlman impotent,
right?
Literally in the book.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to, and Batman's pretty fascist, but everybody likes his power. Rorschach kind of has the highest moral code, despite being crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you get the economy. I mean, since Ozymandias found a compromise with himself in order to save the planet.
Mm-hmm.
To Rorschach, there's no compromise. To him there should be consequences over Ozymandias' actions, even if exposing those consequences ruins the entire outcome, which is a positive outcome.
But nobody wants to be Ozymandias anyway. It doesn't matter because he's barely in it until the end.
Mm-hmm.
And no one understands his motivations.
Yeah.
Like, you can understand the motivations of the fascists. They want power.
Yeah.
That's what I think people find attractive. Like I said, when you make an anti-fascist book, you also make a pro-fascist book. I think I never had that thought before reading the Watchmen articles. I don't consider Batman to be a superhero, which is always good for an argument on short notice. He's a super. If you have an impossible skill set, you're a superhero. Yes. Batman has an impossible skill set.
Yeah, Batman is fascist, but he seems to use his power for good rather than evil.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
is he using that power for personal gain?
You could I'm of the notion you could take the view back. I don't think Batman is necessarily a fascist character, but you could take that view. kind of
I
thing.
don't think that using physical force to fight crime is necessarily fascist.
I don't
I
know
don't
that
think
he's
that
always
Batman.
fighting crime.
Yeah, well, Batman doesn't have a long-term solution to the problem.
No.
So
Yeah, like I
if
said, I don't necessarily think Batman is fascist myself, but I can see the argument for it.
he's James Bond in a cape, well, James Bond is also a superhero.
Yeah. Once again, he's got an impossible skill set.
Yeah.
If you have an impossible skill set, you're a superhero.
Yeah. Sherlock Holmes is a superhero.
Yeah.
Daniel from Stargate SG-1 is a superhero. Nobody speaks 27 languages. MacGyver's a superhero. You do need more than a paperclip and chewing gum to fix something. Batman's the rich beating up the poor and the mentally ill. Well, but he's also mentally ill, so who cares if two mentally ill people beat up each other? Yes, James Bond is a superhero, yes. And Sherlock Holmes is a superhero.
Anybody who has an impossible skill set is a superhero. What's his name? The Man of Bronze.
Doc Savage.
Doc Savage, superhero.
Doc Savage, yeah. Mm-hmm. Any of the Zorro.
Yeah.
And the characters that even if it's a person in a cape and mask.
Well, I don't know Zorro well enough to know if he's a superhero.
Well,
does he have an impossible skill set?
He's incredibly lucky, and nobody can tell it's him in that silly mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's the same mustache.
Power, but
it's very much proto Batman.
Yeah.
He has a secret identity. He is wealthy. Mm-hmm. And he's going against the establishment that happens to be there. And
I just don't know if he has an impossible skill set.
Tarzan has an impossible skill set.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like part of Batman's impossible skill set is he's somehow immune to guns.
Robin Hood. Is Robin Hood a superhero?
I don't think he has an impossible skill set.
No. I read Watchmen for the first time in 2010. Damn. I read it for the first time in 1995. So I read at an airport news agency. Really? Liam Neeson in Taken, he has a particular set of skills. Yes, he does. Speaking of Liam Neeson and taking into account that he was Hannibal in the A-Team remake, which is not a very good movie. All of the members of the A-Team are superheroes. The A-Team is a superhero team. Batman, James Bond, Sherlock Holmes are in. Yeah. No, we don't. We don't.
What would you call somebody with an impossible skill set?
Yeah, because you can't fixate on the notion of breaking the laws of physics.
Yeah.
As long as you are already breaking the laws of logic.
Right.
Even if you don't break the laws of physics.
Batman cannot be immune to guns.
Sherlock Holmes.
He has faced thousands of gunmen and never been hurt badly.
Listen, if the day has 36 hours and you don't sleep, I suppose you can't become that much of an overachiever.
Huh.
But yeah, we've talked before through the years of how do you define what a superhero is? Because if it's the superpowers, people say, "Oh, but Batman's not a superhero because he doesn't have superpowers." Well, and he can't be the costume because there are superheroes even with powers who don't have costumes, and it's not you can't have a neither or version. So you have to. The impossible set of skills is the best notion, because even if you're a regular human, just the fact that you know how to do so much stuff all at once, you really don't have the time to. Nobody really has the time to be good at all of that. It's just that the protagonist needs all of those skills for the plot, and we don't see how he obtained them.
Right, and then you have things like, over the years reading things like the Handbook of the DC Universe. It's a great collection of information about the superheroes. And there's always that funny line that we repeat in the comic industry to each other is that, this person is the best that they are at such and such, except for Batman. And there's always this except, for Batman is also, it's like if they're talking about, you know, um, Dick Grayson Robin is a better athlete than Batman because he was taught by Batman. And then Tim Drake Robin is a better detective than Batman because he was taught by Batman. So each of the Robin has like one special power they inherited from Batman that also technically makes them superheroes.
Yeah. No fictional character. Okay, but they're all fictional characters.
They're
So is
all
Ross from
fictional.
That's
so
not
so is
true.
Ross from Friends. Ross from Friends is not a superhero.
First of all, that's not true because the idea of an impossible skill set isn't even mine. I got it from someone else. I don't remember who discussing what a superhero is. I happen to agree with it, but it's not even my definition. And I'm pretty sure that James Bond was one of the people they mentioned.
And comic fans in particular fixate on the aesthetics of the superhero as the reason why they're superhero. But you do have, if you're discussing the literary origins of the superhero, you have to draw the limits of what constitutes a superhero or not. So the idea that you need a costume, well, Oxmore from the Authority doesn't have a costume. Shang-Chi doesn't have a costume. Hell, he doesn't even have superpowers. But people think he's a superhero because he's in the Marvel universe. The Batman doesn't have superpowers. The Phantom doesn't have superpowers. Is Nick Fury a superhero? He's in the superhero universe. He has guns that nobody else has. Iron Man doesn't have natural powers. It all comes from the armor. If it's the super armor that makes him a superhero, well, Nick Fury also has super guns and a super costume that allows him to glide and a super flying fortress.
He's a superhero in the costume, but not out.
Right. So you can't define that. So the skills, the all of the technical stuff, that's how you have to define what a superhero is. That ends up adding a bunch of people that people don't usually think of superheroes, but they are attractive to the superhero fans for the same reasons, which is what they do with that impossible set of skills. That's why we have to lump in Tarzan and we have to lump in Sherlock Holmes. Michael Jordan, did he have an impossible skill set? No.
By the very definition of the word impossible, it doesn't fit.
Yes, anyone can become a basketball player. You just have to be good at it. So what he is a magician. A magician is somebody who studies an art in order to be good at that art. Michael Jordan studied the art of playing basketball in order to become good at playing basketball.
Michael Jordan's skill set is impossible for me, but not impossible for humanity.
Right. Idealized hero. Well,
the Harlem Globetrotters, I believe, are superheroes.
John Constantine's power is his excellent memory to remember all those enchantments. If Sherlock Holmes, it's not about flying. Oh yeah, it would be pretty badass. But it's not about the flying. You don't have the flying because Batman doesn't fly either.
But since he did come back from the dead trying to fly by falling through the falls, he came back from the dead. So that constitutes superheroism.
Reichenbach Falls.
Yeah, James Bond can fly, albeit with a jetpack. Yes, but a jetpack, we know that in the real world it doesn't work. Jetpacks, first it will burn your ass, literally. Second, even if you wear something protective over your ass, that thing is going to run out of fuel in 15 minutes. You can't do a cross-country trip with a jetpack.
Yeah, the 70s showed us how well jetpacks work. And they were only good to come into a stadium or leave a stadium, and then
That was
guest
it.
star on a couple of TV shows.
There's statistically there is no way Batman has had so many adventures in his lifespan. Just as he doesn't have time, even without adventuring, he doesn't have time to learn all he can about being a detective and being a forensic scientist and being
Martial artist.
an acrobat, a martial artist, or acting, because he needs to be to figure out how to. When he's when he's in disguise, he has to act like a completely different person. All of that takes a lot of time. So
Batman would last 3 seconds against Killer Croc if he didn't have an impossible skill set.
Superman is not actually the first superhero.
Springfield Jack.
No,
Gilgamesh?
Gilgamesh. Yes.
Gilgamesh, I agree. That is the first
Yeah.
superhero that
The
we
second
have at
superhero-
least
yeah.
written information about.
Yeah. And then we have
Jason and the
Hercules. Hercules is a
Argonauts?
superhero. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Argonauts. The Argonauts are the first superhero team.
But yeah, because it's literally they were for all different stories that all came together. Someone
Yeah.
thought, "Hey, let's bring them all together."
And they all
Hercules is a member and doesn't
yeah,
do a
and they-
thing in the story.
yeah, and they all had their own impossible set of skills.
Yep.
And they fought evil for kicks.
Kind of helps when
Just
your
like-
dad's a god too, but you know.
Yeah.
Superhero.
What about Lando Calrissian? He has many skills and a nice cape.
I didn't see any impossible skills in Lando Calrissian.
No, it's
No,
Luke.
so Luke is the superhero of that story.
Yeah. Mhm.
He's the one
Ben
who
is
can
a
move things with
retired
his movement.
superhero in the story.
Mhm.
Chewbacca. Han Solo is not a superhero, but Chewbacca is.
Yep.
Yes.
What a Wookiee! Chewbacca! What a Wookiee!
And that's why Victor Von Doom is such a badass. He has got 0 superpowers besides his intelligence, and he's capable of defeating any Marvel hero.
He also
Yes.
has magic.
Well,
so
yeah.
He's not powered
And
lit.
he's got a super suit. Well, once again, he's got an impossible skill set. Nobody in humanity has this skill to make armor like that.
Right. So it's,
Even if he didn't have powers, Reed Richards would be a superhero.
Yes, because he's got an impossible intellect.
yes.
I've really enjoyed debating you. Yeah.
What a Wookiee! I only got 2 comics this week.
Really?
It was a light week for me, but I did pick up Alter Ego.
Oh, what's it is this week?
This is the classic
I was tempted
cover.
by that one. Yeah, because of the cover.
Dave Stevens. I think this is from like Airboy number 5. It's 1986. Looks like it was recolored. You know, Airboy and the Valkyrie, probably co-created by Roy Thomas. But guess what it was about this cover that caught my attention? The Secret History of Hillman Comics.
I thought it was the
know
boobs.
nothing of that.
I thought it was the boobs.
You know what? I only glanced at the boobs at first.
That's all I saw of that cover.
Actually, Hillman Comics. I'm not lying. But don't worry, I got another one that caught my attention. But I was like, I know nothing about him. And since I only had 2 comics, I was like, all right, I'm going to learn about Hillman Comics. Airboy. I bought some Airboy stuff in the Clue Master. Don't know who that is. I haven't even thumbed through this yet. But I looked forward to learning Lady Luck. I look forward to learning about Hillman Comics. And get your copy now so you can get this Airboy cover, which I think the The original goes for a bit of money. The Airboy #5. It's like one of the, you know how those Dave Stevens covers from the '80s can go for some money. Crazy. Some of them go for crazy amounts of money.
Can
Airboy
Batman
number
render
5.
chains in a realistic and efficient manner?
I am sure he can. He can render chains with his mind.
And we'll even get Todd to draw that story.
Because he already has. There is a Todd cover with chains on it. Airboy number 1, 1986. You get a pre-owned issue for $55 or a 9.0 for $80.
Ah. And Roy Thomas did not create Dave Stevens. He co-created him.
Right.
Remember, Dave Thomas never creates anything. He co-creates it all.
Yeah.
Or he sends you he rips out pages from the book and sends them to you.
Yeah. Here you go. I co-created this.
And I bought that issue right off the shelves. I really did enjoy Eclipse Comics. It also helped that they were 50 cents comics compared to all the other books being like 75 cents to $1 by that point.
Oh, Airboy you got?
Yeah. Because that was Eclipse when that was coming out.
I think Airboy, it was like bi-weekly, so it was smaller and 50 cents, right?
Yeah. And that was very attractive. And I think I got a lot of those Eclipse books from that time period. Yeah. And that was creating his own little universe. So you had the Heap was part of it as well.
Roy Thomas is the co-creator of the Cavern of Chaos, yes.
Yep. He whispered it into Tim's ear many years ago.
And we have to send him love checks every time we use the title.
Yeah, if we ever make a master head, it will be Roy Thomas Presents The Cavern of Chaos.
You guys are super. Yeah, it is an impossible set of skills to do this, yes. My buds reading this week were old Brazilian Wizard magazines from 1997.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had to throw mine out. I couldn't keep them in storage. They already have too much stuff in storage. Mark Silvestri interview. Image because they couldn't stand Rob. Yeah, that one was reprinted from the U.S. version. Although the Brazilian Wizard did have its own editorial material, including an interview with Alan Moore, which was not published in the U.S. version.
Yep.
Clearly, Roy co-created you too.
He sure did. I'll show you the trashy cover I got this week.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, if you're a low-end buyer like me on YouTube, you end up overpaying for comics. And this was one that popped up lots of times when I was doing searches for stuff. It's a Jupiter's Legacy alternate cover that always popped up. And here it is. This is by Christian Ward, I think it is. And this is should be the equivalent of Superman's daughter. But in the beginning of the story, she's kind of this club kid who's a disappointment. She doesn't really want to be a superhero. She wants to hang out and be a rich club girl. And one of the reasons I like this cover so much is it's trashy. And it got me to thinking about exactly what trashy. Oh, by the way, it cost me. The comic itself was $3.50. The shipping was $7. So it was $11.37 taxed and shipped. But
for a trashy cover.
For a trashy cover. But
at least $3. At least $3 overpriced for shipping.
I figure, you know what? I'll pay $11 for it. Jupiter's Legacy is one of my favorite superhero stories of the last, I don't know, when did this come out? I don't know, the last decade, let's say. I don't know why, but one of my favorite stories. I always like this, but it got me thinking about how hard it is to make a trashy cover these days. Because, back in the 50s when comics were considered trash, trashy covers were everywhere. But nowadays, people try to make their, I mean, there's plenty of like sexy covers, but trashy kind of and trying to define the word, it kind of implies something that's bad, something that's low class, something that's bad, and it's especially applied to women showing their sexuality. So a lot of comic book covers, when they are being sexy, they try not to be trashy, like mainstream ones. Like Marvel and DC has endless sexy covers, but they try to make them not trashy. Like even this, not trashy, just kind of they try to make her powerful and beautiful and this, but there's nothing trashy about it. This one, they're trying for trashy. So it got me thinking about how hard it is to make a trashy comic book cover these days. And if I could think of any other ones, I really couldn't off the top of my head, recent sort of trashy covers, because most of the sexy covers are not the least bit trashy. They're just kind of revealing, and I don't know what they're trying to do, but
Would you think that Frank Quitely's covers to X-Men, especially White Queen, are that
they
trashy?
could be. They border on.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm trying to think. Is it a borderline?
Now that you
He's
mention it, yeah.
standing, and when you said trashy, I kind of almost automatically think they're either sitting or laying down in such a way.
Milo Manara's Spider-Woman.
Okay, yeah.
That one its trashiness may have got what got people mad at him.
Right.
He did what he always does.
Yeah, that was to me. It was like, and you could find Spider-Man issues where.
But this is Puritan America over here.
Yes, that's true too. But you could find issues of Spider-Man where he has the same pose.
Yeah.
So to me, I found that to be ridiculous. It's like, why are you focusing on this thing? And it's like, and it's a superhero book. There's nothing supposed to look real anyway.
But Spider-Man is not supposed to be trashy at all.
Right.
There's no trashiness in Spider-Man.
There's a bit. There was a Brazilian wizard. I'm very surprised. There were actually 2 attempts. The first one were the ones that SBPT was reading. And I used to have them. I had to throw them out because I didn't have the room, and nobody would want them. But it lasted for a year and a half. It was part of a push by that publisher to go back to superhero comics, because they also got the rights to Wildcats, Gen 13, Cyberforce, and Codename Strikeforce. The second attempt, the magazine ended up being called Wizmania, and I don't think it lasted that long. Funnier than the US version. Yes, it was, which is not difficult.
Almost naked ladies wearing Brazilian Mardi Gras comic book cosplays.
Yes. Yeah. They were trying to be trashy. That covers trashy in the way that porn mag covers in the 80s were trashy. Well, yeah.
I think this has a little more
90s porn mag.
Yeah, it's trying to be trashy and it's succeeding.
Yeah. For instance, the Machine new album took reference from that cover.
Ah.
It's not is it? I mean, it's not original. No, it's like Irene said. It's typical of porn magazines of that period.
It's well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
but not it's wanton archaic definition. TNA will never. Yeah, but this isn't just like this. Trashy is a special version of TNA. Like Marvel and DC do plenty of TNA.
Yeah,
plenty, but they try to keep it as highbrow as possible.
Yeah, it's hard to pick like trashy looks. And again, as I mentioned, it's that sitting on a chair a certain way,
right?
And it's funny.
Overtly sexual.
Marvel has a few, and I don't know if it was meant to be, but I could think of John Buscema images with Loki sitting that way and almost being
Yes.
trashy because of how petty he is, and he
Right.
always has that
The
look when
classic
he's
royal slump.
yes, exactly, and I think that falls into that category as well.
But when a man does it, it's not trashy.
Right. Except for Loki. I think he's trashy when he does it. But,
Dren-
again, it's one of those things, it's like, what is a trashy male look?
I don't know if I don't.
I don't
Uh,
know. I don't know if there is
you have
one
to
that would
be what's
fall
his
there.
name, Tom O'Finland, to be trashy male. Do you know him?
No.
Did he do the covers for
No,
the
no, he
painted
did.
covers for the male magazines? Model
Yeah,
magazines?
he did stuff like that. There was penises aplenty in his. Yeah, if you want to be trashy male, you got to get some penis into it. Otherwise, it's never going to be trashy enough.
Right, okay. Did he do those biker images?
Yes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
do know who you're talking about.
Lots
Okay.
of leather and straps and
Right.
homoerotica stuff. Like I said, you got to get there in order to be trashy male.
Right.
Trashy female, not so much. It says Dren Productions are trashy. See, that's what's so weird. I think I got one of those recently, and it's so hard to come up with definitions because sometimes something's just because something has sex in it and is a little exploitive doesn't necessarily make it trashy. Depends on what they're going for. Like I said, I bought a Dren Productions book. I can't remember which one it was, but I'd have to look at it again and try and it's such a tough thing to nail down. Captain Finity's got to go. We'll catch you later.
Yep. Yeah. And come back since it's been over an hour now. You can come. You know where to come back, so you can watch us on the replay.
You know what's the difference between TNA and trashy? If you have TNA on your coffee table, someone might walk by it and go, "Hmm." If you have trashy on your coffee table, someone will walk by it and go, "Why do you have that?"
But if you have it on a French coffee table, yeah, yeah. There was the second version less. Yeah, I remember seeing it on the stands, and this doesn't seem very interesting now, because the first one, the editor, was a really experienced guy who had also worked at the other Brazilian publisher called Leandro Luigi Del Manto. He was a very knowledgeable about American comics in general. So he was very good at picking the best out of what Wizard did in the US and then complementing it with the needs of the Brazilian market.
And this overpaying for this actually led me to getting books for a decent price on eBay, where being that I only had 2 comics to buy, plus I bought the magazine this week, I was like, I can spend a little money on eBay. So I started looking, just because I like this cover so much, I started looking for more Christian Ward covers on eBay. Turns out this was the best one, I thought. Not that his other ones were terrible or anything. I just wasn't paying $10 for them. But it led me to, I don't have the comics yet, but the Firefly / Serenity comic, you know that one, the old TV series. I'm always a fan. Joss Whedon's Firefly. I've always been a fan of it. I bought some comic books of it when they first came out. They were middling. And I heard someone at the time say the problem with a lot of licensed comics is, like, if you like the original thing, you're buying the comics because you want more of the original thing.
Yeah.
But they're just not. They're not that original thing. And that's what it was with those Firefly. They're middle of the road comics. So I haven't bought them over the years, but I just happened to be looking at, I think this Firefly Serenity, I forget the name of it. because I think Firefly was the TV show, Serenity was the movie, and I don't remember what the comics have been named, one or the other. I think they've been named Serenity, but I'm not 100%.
I think they were named Serenity, but the Firefly logo could have been on the cover as well.
Yeah. So there was the 2018 series had 30 issues and so many good covers. So I went over to mycomicshop.com just so I could see all the covers in one place. And like every issue had 3 or 4 covers, and they're not expensive. I think they were like $4 an issue, maybe $3 an issue. So I was looking at them. I was picking. I often do this at mycomicshop.com. I pick out all the comics I want and then never buy them. That's like standard for. I don't know why, but that's standard for me on mycomicshop.com. So I picked out all the covers I wanted, 30 issues. It ended up being like $120. It really isn't bad at, that's $4 an issue. But I was like, I don't want to spend $120. So then I went, let's see what I can find on eBay again. So I eventually found an eBay lot.
Mercy Sparks from Devil's Due has trashy covers as options.
See, I think those are more general TNA than trashy. Like, I don't think Adam Hughes can do a trashy cover. His work is just too pretty.
It's good girl art.
Yeah. I just don't think it's that trashy. But anyway, I saw a group of like 27 out of the 30 comics. Some of the I couldn't even see all the covers, but it had a lot of covers that I liked in it that I was going to get. And I think it was going for $60 shipped. And I looked at it and went, oh, that's $2 a comic. I actually did some quick math in my head and was like, 27 issues times $2 a comic is 54 comics. And there was a buy it now. I'm like, if I give them a buy it now at $50, it'll with ship with tax, it'll be 54. And that's $2 an issue. I can do that. And then I got really confused because I sent him an offer for $50 and he must have had an automatic accept $50 set up. Because as soon as I sent him an offer for $50, it said up on the top of the listing, this lot is no longer available. And I went, what? How can it no longer be available? I mean, did someone buy it? Then I realized, oh, I'm the one who bought it.
And it went that quickly. You could have probably offered 40. Yeah, on eBay, you could set up, make offers. Right. And it's like automatic reject offers under X amount of money.
Yeah.
And then over X amount of money, automatically accept. So you don't have to be babysitting.
Right.
You could set all that up in the nuances of eBay.
I figured that's right, but I was so confused when, like, within a second of me hitting that button, it was like, this lot is not available anymore, and I'm like, what?
I read somewhere that Morrison asked quietly to take reference from one of the Tom from Finland illustrations for Batman.
Yeah, I can believe that. Good girl art is trashy. I don't.
Very funny, Daniel.
Once again, it's tough for me to figure out what's kind of lowbrow and what's trashy. Kind of like I don't know. Like in my head, trashy is worse than good girl art. Oh, you know what? I think you're right there. If you want my trashy choice, mine stand. Yeah, definitely. I think you can say Eric, because he does some, his sexual stuff in Savage Dragon, I think can be described as trashy.
Yep.
I think you're right there, now that you mention it. I don't know if he's done any really trashy covers, but the insides read up to that mature label standard, and he's not trying to make anything beautiful. He's just giving us reality and craziness. So yeah, I think I agree with that.
Robert Williams is trashy.
Ooh. I'm trying to picture Robert Williams. I got an almost. I think I agree with you, but I can't picture him right now. His stuff right now. But I think you're right. I think you could probably describe some Robert Crumb as trashy.
Oh, Robert Crumb is definitely trashy.
Yeah,
because he's a neurotic.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way he relates to sex is being trashy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it trash? I don't know. I'm looking at Robert, but I have to look.
Yeah, I know his stuff. I just can't think. I know I've seen his stuff. I just can't think of it right now.
Okay, yeah. A few of his pieces definitely are trashy, but not everything. Not even
Right.
when you have women being sexy, not everything is trashy, but quite a few are. So he can do trashy if he wants to, but
not. But his oeuvre isn't trashy, but he can do it.
Right. Yeah,
there's a lot of violence,
trashy stuff, but
there's a lot of violence there, even when it's accidental. So he's trying to be edgy.
Yeah. Sleepy Reader just said Eric Larson and his spurting scenes. Exactly. That's trashy. Yeah. Definitely.
Robert Williams did the inside cover of the first Guns N' Roses album.
The woman being attacked by the robot. Okay, I never had Guns N' Roses, so never had any Guns N' Roses albums.
Yeah, I won't really know. I don't really pay, even when I'm familiar with album art, I'm not. I don't really pay attention.
Well, a lot of us in the early '80s studied Roger Dean's album art for Yes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I always liked reading liner notes, but but the art itself. Portuguese comic is really trashy. Carlos Carcass. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know his stuff.
Yeah, you have to ask Clay Wilson.
Like, to me, something like Cherry Pop-Tart wouldn't be trashy.
No, it's cheesecake.
Yeah. But there actually is drawings of sex in it. So that might be considered trashy over here. But overall, to me, I wouldn't really describe it as that.
It's very playful to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is even in Europe, it's what's straddling the border between art and trashy. But yeah, it's not pornographic.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to be funny.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Cherry Pop-Tart, not trashy. Tank Girl, trashy.
Right.
Well, I don't think Tank Girl succeeds at being trashy, but it tries.
Yes.
I think that they're trying to take advantage of trashy, but it's just a little too mainstream to be trashy. But I think that's their aesthetic. You're right. That's the aesthetic they want.
Wally Wood as an aesthetic that is not trashy, but he is trying to be.
Yeah, I can see that too. He's too technically proficient at making things pretty,
right,
to be trashy.
But the subject matter of the stories, puts the women as trashy in the situations that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Sleepy suggests Clay Wilson.
More in, especially in canon, more in canon than when he is doing elves in Witsend. But canon was made for the Armed Forces newspaper, so it was okay to have naked women in the stories because it wouldn't pass. There was no review board.
Yeah.
Is barbed wire supposed to be trash? Hey, SG.
I would think so. I think that's kind of their aesthetic they're going for. I don't know how well they succeed.
Yeah, but it's very mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. It's too mainstream to really be trash, but they're trying to take advantage of the trashy aesthetic.
Right. For teenage boys. Hey,
Right.
look, she has big boobs.
Right.
Kiss the devil.
Yeah,
And,
like I said, it got me thinking all about what's trashy and what's not. What would I consider trashy? Like,
oh,
if this comic were just lying around my studio and my random friends came over, they'd be like, "What do you have that for?"
well, yeah, it's a gratuitous pose,
Yeah,
and that probably is the best definition for trashy.
yeah,
If it's gratuitous.
yeah. There's a good word. I like that to go with it. Like even my friends who like cheesecake might be like, "What do you have that one for?"
Mm-hmm. It's the way she's
Good.
sitting down and
Yeah,
the way her eyes are drawn, and combine that with she's in lingerie.
right.
Tim Vigil
You-
comics are.
For sure. I haven't
I
read
don't,
enough Tim Vigil to know, but
yeah, I haven't. From
from what I've read, I could understand that.
just from looking at the art, it's like the subject matter is supposed to have a sex as part of the environment. So I wouldn't say it's
Mm.
trashy. This, which is, it's. I don't think going back to using the word gratuitous.
Yeah.
When you have women in Hollywood's canon,
Mm-hmm.
it's gratuitous. There, even if the art is pretty, therefore trashy. When you have Tim Vigil stories, the stories are supposed to have sex and dirty sex in them, so it's not gratuitous. So I wouldn't consider them trashy. They might be too overboard for some readers,
Right.
but it is what you expect from
Right.
from that type of stories. Because the Portuguese might not quite there, but
Huh.
I wouldn't use Mike Diana as a comparison. Where did you put the dolphin on that trashy cover?
Tough
Well,
call. Tough call.
That's yeah. Because
yeah.
anything you replace will probably make it more trashy.
Yeah, there's no.
Right. Outlaw
No.
exactly. The sequentially is right. Outlaw comics are not that trashy.
Outlaw comics are just people trying to make comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, the subject matter in a Tim Vigil comic makes it not trashy. It may be overboard, but it's not gratuitous.
And for those of you who don't know, Outlaw comics are they were named by, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I forgot their names. Over at that channel with Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor.
Yeah.
Oh, the comic kayfabe.
Yeah, comic kayfabe. They named them Outlaw Comics, and they were mostly comics from the 80s, from the black and white boom. And it was like right before they were like they were a little too young to have read those, so they were fascinating to them. For those of you who don't know, in the mid 80s here in the US, after the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic was such a big hit, there became something called the black and white boom, where all of a sudden everybody was like, ooh, I can make a comic. So, and comic shops would order them. They were looking for the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So suddenly your little black and white comic that no comic shops would order would get ordered. So there was just this endless wave of outlaw comics, as comics kayfabe called them, and just like comics made by guys who wanted to make a comic, and they weren't that good, and sometimes they were crazy, and some they were doing their best. So that was an interesting time in comics, but that's what outlaw comics are.
Is Ed Piskor trashy for some of his comics? I would say yes.
Yeah,
But Piskor is intentional. Yeah, and I
Red
think
Room,
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're trying to be trashy, well, yeah, if you're trying to be trashy, you're honest trashy.
Yeah.
It's still trashy, but it's honest trashy.
Right. If you sometimes some people are just like Tank Girl isn't really trying to be trashy. It's trying to use the trashy aesthetic. Ed Piskor's Red Room, that's trashy.
Right on the spot, Mr. Amos. More trashy comics.
But like my favorite Ed Piskor comic is WYSIWYG. Not the least bit trashy. It's not even trying to be. It's the story of a hacker in the 80s. Love that comic. Think it's great.
Have we checked out the Power Comics site?
No, don't know what that is.
What's Power Comics? Power Comics. So this is a blog spot? Wait, this is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go, Power Rangers.
Power Comics Inc. Is this it? These are Golden Age Pest issues. I don't think this is it. This is it either. I don't know.
Iron Zero just said, do you mean Power Pulp Comics?
Power Pulp Comics. Power Pulp Comics. Okay. Yes, some of these things are, yeah, True Crime Funnies, Alien Disclosure, Leo Derek in the Heart of Danger. Yeah,
now we got Poser Comics.
Yeah, some of these are trashy.
Huh.
Family Fun Comics, and they're using Fletcher Hanks' Stardust.
Huh.
Well, it's in the public domain by now. Bastards of the Cosmos, the comics. Yeah, not everything in here is trashy, but they are outlaw comics.
Huh.
Looks nice. I would say that all that 80s comics we mentioned had their chance due to Robert. No. The Robert Crumb is late 60s. So all of those comics that were put out by that followed up on Zap Comics from Last Gasp or from Kitchen Sink, those so when you had guys like Spain Rodriguez or S. Clay Wilson showing up, those were because of Robert Crumb. Then you had some people trying to, in the late 70s, you had another glut trying to take advantage of the success, interest in ElfQuest and Cerebus.
They were both about the distribution system, a hit comic and the distribution system, because Robert Crumb's Weirdo was a hit comic, and I don't exactly know how their distribution system worked, but it was through head shops in the U.S. And by the time the mid 70s rolled around, head shops were outlawed and the distribution system went away. The black and white boom of the 80s was because the comic shop distribution was in full swing. But if it wasn't for the Turtles, none of it would have ever happened, because the Turtles was a black and white comic that got really popular, shot up in price, and made all the comic shops notice. Before Turtles, there were black and white comics like Cerebus, but comic shops wouldn't order many of them. And they certainly weren't ordering like new, unknown black and white comics.
Right.
After Cerebus, they all were playing the lottery, ordering these black and white comics. They were like, yeah.
Cerebus and ElfQuest would be outliers. Just like the early Pacific comics.
Right.
They were for connoisseurs. Just like, in the 80s, so was Crumb. People were not actively looking for Crumb. Crumb was, it's like trying to look for Elvis Presley records in the 90s. They're not appealing to most people. The people who were making comics in the 80s might have been fans of Crumb, but people who were interested in their comics would not be looking out for Robert Crumb material.
Yeah, but similar paths. Both were a hit comic and the distribution system it took for people to actually order them.
Power Pulp has free shipping over a combined amount, so a shop can do a $200 bundle. A lot of Power Pulp emulates the Outlaw comic. Yeah. But they are great to recommend to a comic shop if a comic wants to try stuff beyond the big two.
Power Pulp. Okay.
Your store might be interested in it, Jared.
Yeah. They already have a distributor for all the small press stuff. The new, I don't know if it's them. I forget the name of them. They're a new small press distributor they use.
Spain had some killer stuff, but your Crumb had the cred. But after when the other guys started showing up, it was clear that some of them were technically better than Crumb. Spain was, I don't think Spain was technically better, but he had a different kind of energy that was appealing on its own. Von Baudet was technically better. And so was Corbin. Corbin was definitely technically better. He just chose not to do pretty art.
Right.
ElfQuest. So documentary, dude. There was a time when ElfQuest was free in their website.
The artist
said no to Marvel. Yeah, I suppose they didn't have Epic yet. Jim Shooter was. Archie Goodwin was still there. There you go, Baudet. Yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking Corbin. Yeah, exactly. He was dark. Yeah. Right. Because Baudet's art was aesthetically pleasing, although even if it was a bit out there.
I think Corbin might have a trashy streak.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd call him trashy, but I think there's a trashy streak in Corbin art.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's a very poetic trashy, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you go through the breadth of his work, because he's not trying to be trashy.
No.
But he's not trying to run away from it either.
Right. I think that's a good way to be, because like if like random family members would come over and look through your Corbin books, you'd have to explain it to them that you're not a pervert.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, no, there's more to this than what you're seeing.
Right.
I know it looks a certain way, but
yeah, and but SG mentioning Jodorowsky and Mobius, and yeah, because Corbin was attractive to Metal Hurlant, so the Europeans understood Corbin better than the American market.
Yeah,
because it's that it's that realistic use of sex in an unrealistic setting.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense for the story to have that supposed trashiness in there. Oh yeah, Lance O'Bannon. Yeah. But
let me show you something I reread recently. This came out. I think I got this summer.
Segredes didn't do sex in that manner. When he had naked women, they were more. Dan O'Bannon, yeah, Dan O'Bannon. That's right. So what do you final?
Now Charles Burns has some nudity in his stuff, but I don't think he'll ever be accused of being trashy, even though there might be a trashy streak in him. Let's see if I can. That might be considered trashy right there, but I don't think so. It makes sense for the story.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty subdued. You could show it on TV.
Yeah,
but Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Nice.
But once again, sometimes books are just better the second time through. because I always find like a lot of times the first time through, I'm caught up in the plot. I'm caught up paying attention to the plot. I'm caught up wondering what's going to happen next. That's always, the big question in any story you're being told. What happens next? So it's like I can miss a lot of the subtleties of the story until the second read through, and I go, because I'm not as concerned with the plot the second time through. And I think that's just the way human beings read stuff. I don't think that's, me. That's kind of everybody. But this was really good the second time through. And it's the story of 5 or 6 teenagers. I think they're right around 18. A couple of them can drive. But he is so... have you guys read Black Hole?
I haven't.
No,
That's his
I have
most
not.
famous one. I liked it better than Black Hole. Black Hole is but Black Hole was a little more on the nose, kind of, because Black Hole was about teenagers and fitting in. But it was also about if it was an STD that made you look ugly, kind of thing, that you could catch, and that would automatically make you an outcast. So it was about So it was a little more obvious, Black Hole. Then it was an earlier work. But it was just, he is so good at, once again, this one's about teenagers. And it's mostly about these 2 main characters. It's called Final Cut because the main character is making a film. And he has a crush on the woman the other teenager he wants as the lead actress. But he's also, there's something, I think he's on the spectrum somehow because he's on some mood medicine that he takes or doesn't take. But that's kind of a minor plot thread. So it's all about these teenagers and mainly these 2 and trying to navigate liking each other. And what does that mean? And he's obviously interested in her as a girlfriend. Is she interested in him that way? She doesn't know. So but it's all kind of done there's no good guys or bad guys in it. Everyone's kind of just trying to work things out. And there's, what I find too is Charles Burns's art is so sort of crisp and all there and obvious that I missed the subtleties in it the first time around. Like his work is so clean, you think you know everything looking at it, but there's a lot of subtlety to it that I just missed the first time around because I'm paying attention to other things. So it was a really, really good read. And he's so good at writing teenagers in that you feel they're really teenagers. Most of the time I read stuff about, or I read or see movies about teenagers, they're either sort of a lot of nostalgia to them, or there's a lot of writers who are adults looking back to being teenagers and remembering the dramatic moments, but not everything else. There's an authenticity to Charles Burns's, especially this book, to me, that really captures this sort of weird teenage angst of trying to navigate through these friends, who likes who and who doesn't, and what's going on, and what does liking someone mean. And let's make a movie. What does it mean to make even what does it mean to make a movie? Most of the time it's really boring. And that was the character. And it also takes place, I think, in the 1980s. Because all their movie making equipment is there's no computers in there's no computers, no phones. And they go off in the woods a couple of times to these cabins to stay overnight. And the only adult in it is his mother, who's an alcoholic and embarrasses him. So it's him dealing with his mother, the embarrassment of it. So it was really, I enjoyed this a whole lot the second time around. The Final Cut by Charles Burns. Give it a read if you haven't.
Yeah, as Jim also mentions, El Borba. Which is
who's El Borba?
It's also from Charles Burns.
Oh, okay. I don't know that. I know I bought Black Hole when it was all collected in 2008. It was really the X'd Out trilogy that made me, which I can't remember the name of all of them. that was what made me a Charles Burns fan. But that one I'll have to look up, El Borba, because I think like this Final Cut was released in France in like 2019, and it didn't get here till last year. I don't know why that is, but
okay. SG Sequential Geek just said he looked up Vicente Segrelles. Who no is not available in the US. It's not comparable to Alex Ross, his art style, because these are oil paintings. But I have a book here, so yeah, 13 volumes. And the guy only started doing comics when he was nearly 40. Yeah, so this is one of the albums. This is number 3. So very beautiful art. He was doing science fiction and fantasy novel covers for the Spanish market before he started doing comics. Here's the opening page. This is a waterfall which is the place where he gets the mercenary gets his missions from.
He gets his missions from a waterfall?
No, he gets his missions from this guy.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he does a lot of these. They're just big posters. You don't even have any dialogue. Check out the armor. But let's see. So we were talking whether this is trashy or not, and I wouldn't say that. I mean, you have this, and you have this, and you have this, and
yeah, that doesn't look too trashy at all.
No, I wouldn't say trashy. Okay, so there's boobage. It's not. No, it's not even too out there, even for European stuff.
No.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, he started doing comics almost 40, and all of his family are artists. If you look up some of his uncles, one of them has an art. His house was turned into an art museum in Valencia. Although this Segrelles in particular is from Barcelona. And another uncle did covers for the New Yorker back in the 1920s.
Oh, wow.
In the NBM. Oh, how many did they do? NBM did a few. I didn't know that NBM had done them, but
no idea.
It would have to be NBM. Yeah, in the 90s, they were the only ones doing European comics that were available in the direct market. Can't say someone who's done it 40 creatively. Same thing, creating Marvel. They were around the same age when Vicente Segrelles started doing comics. Yeah, because the guy who ran the agency, Selecciones Ilustradas, kept badgering the Segrelles to create comics because his science fiction covers were very illustrative, and he thought he could do a graphic novel with this. So he came up with his own medieval fantasy series, and there we go. Is still doing stuff in these 80s. He's not doing full stories anymore, but he's still producing art. He's not doing everything in the computer because he's 80. He's in his 80s, and his hand is not the same. But he said he's found it working in a computer to be quite pleasant. So if you go to his website, you'll be able to.
Speaking
find
of stuff. Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, Fantastic Four Facsimile Edition number 12 came out with this classic cover. Love this cover. The Thing and the Hulk about to meet. And I never noticed before that we've got the blue dot over the eye to match the blue the. I just have never seen that, but I never saw that as I've looked at this cover a few times, and it's just the first time the Thing and the Hulk meet with lots and lots of words by Stan Lee. I skipped a lot of them, but it was very enjoyable. And I don't know if this is the last of the facsimile editions, because I originally had heard they're doing the first 12 issues as facsimiles. I don't know if they're going to keep it going, because when you think about it, why not? $5 an issue, so I spent $60 over the year on this series, which you can get a nice hardcover for that price, but I'm happy with the individual. Like I said, the reason I like the facsimiles is they make a collectible into a comic book again. No one's going to be taking out their Fantastic Four number 12 original and thumbing through it. Look at that, Wilson got one too.
I picked it up as well, and the funny thing about it too was that when I was looking at it on the shelf, I thought they might have done something to this cover differently than the release one. Because they do the silver foil one, and I thought this might have been something else, because in the comic shop, for some reason, it didn't look correct. And I couldn't place my finger on it, what it might be, other than it's just the way it's printed. And maybe I never really looked at the cover before, but I've always seen images of the cover. So to see the cover itself on the shelf, it just looked a little off. It looked a little too gray and silvery.
You know what that could be?
Printed cover. And I never noticed that the eye was dotted with that blue color, as you mentioned. So to me, it's like it just seemed so different for some reason that I wasn't even sure if this was the proper regular facsimile. I almost felt like, is that one of the alternate covers that they have where they did something to it? And it could just be that gray.
It could be the K-tones.
Yeah.
Because inside comics don't have a lot of K-tones, i.e. gray, in them. But they could use that for the covers, but I don't think the Fantastic Four did a lot. I'll have to look at the cover. They certainly didn't use, because there's gray in the Hulk in the shadows, and there's gray in the Thing in the shadows. And I don't think that was usual. Or maybe they just started using them at Marvel at that time. I don't know, because it cost extra to use K-tones on the inside, which is why they were never the black plate on the inside was always perfectly black. There was no zip, there was no gray in that black plate. But on the covers, which is why often Neil Adams used it to the best effect. If you look at Neil Adams' Batman and other covers in the 60s, he used K-tones all the time because he knew the printing process and knew he could use them. I don't know that everyone else knew they could use them and had. I'm going to pull out my ones later and take a look.
And I do wonder if they will print a annual and finish it off with that.
When was the first annual? The annual's not here. There's no annual here at the time. So this is 1963. Right. The annual is 6 months after number 12.
Okay.
Yeah, but because that still no, in the original comics, still no mention of Marvel anywhere. You don't see the brand Marvel anywhere. But that comic is the first Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is Amazing Spider-Man #1 because they both came out in the same day.
Right. Okay. Nice.
But that's the first time that the superheroes meet. And we didn't even have much.
Was Hulk's book canceled by then?
Not yet. The number 6 was the following month. I'm not
Okay.
sure that when that they knew they were canceling the Hulk when they were producing number 6. So because they didn't have any more stories, but they found a room for the Hulk later. We're still talking about Segrelles. Did a cute cartoon named Sheriff Pet that was in the 90s. But I don't think that one was published outside Spain. I don't think even the French have it. I'll have to check. Bet some idiot about the
that
facsimiles.
happens all the time. I've seen tons
Yeah.
of facsimiles.
Yeah, but that thing that one actually has a Marvel logo on the cover, so they should know.
MC, yeah.
I don't think they're doing more. I don't recall seeing more in the Marvel solicits for January or February.
Okay, that's the facsimiles. Oh, I guess 12 was it. Maybe they'll
start going.
We'll
have residual. Yeah, well, the Segrelles. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure which members of the Segrelles family are around yet.
By the way, the Hulk only has 3 toes on this cover.
Yeah,
Jack Kirby could not get the number of and 4 fingers.
Mm-hmm. That still changed a lot. I think it was. Yeah. I think it was Maurice Severin who got the number of fingers and toes to be set up at a normal 5. Emily Henderson and her sons launched production company series based on her 1996 film Barbed Wire. Okay. Well, we'll have to pay Mike Richardson for it, but sure.
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, first Marvel Universe. Nothing before it. This is Suspense number 38 and number 40.
And the one comic I got this week that wasn't a facsimile is the Beauty number 2, and I want to complain about something in it. Good issue. I like it. I like this series. I think it's being made into a TV series. And I don't know if this is the writer or the artist's fault. But, you see, where is it? Here is this woman getting stabbed. There's a good shot of it. Hold on. It must be the next page. I know they showed us a good shot of it. There it is. She got stabbed right in the stomach with an 8-inch knife. Now, where is she? You don't survive that wound without a surgeon. It's in a slightly different place over here, but still, you don't survive that wound without a surgeon.
No. If it didn't hit your stomach, it might have hit your liver, and that's even worse.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, she passes out from blood loss. You're like, oh, but then this guy shows up and I guess patches her up. You can't, when you get stabbed with a 6-inch knife without a surgeon, you don't survive that.
No.
She's a superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Impossible set of skills.
But I was just like, come
knife
on. I could see her getting wounded or something. Like I said, I don't know if that's the writer's fault or the artist didn't draw what the writer wanted or whatever, but I'm like, come on. You know, have her get sliced over the rib, but you get stabbed anywhere with the blade all the way to the hilt. Without a surgeon, you're bleeding out.
Yeah.
That's how the human body works. But otherwise, a good issue. I don't know where the TV show is supposed to be appearing and stuff like that, but the beauty is the STD that makes you beautiful. So there's a lot of people that want to catch it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Use an iron on full. Cauterizing it doesn't matter.
Right,
it's
because
the internal injuries.
Yeah. Everything inside is open, and those things don't close.
You need a surgeon to sew you up on the inside.
You don't know what might have been punctured
on
the way in and what you might have cut up, pulling it out.
Yeah.
Also, you have to do it. Yeah, and you have to do it pretty quick because those Stomach acids are not good for your bloodstream.
Mm-hmm. There's just you just don't survive a stabbing like that without that was that was like a kitchen knife. One of the
Yeah, that one's not likely to be very, very clean either.
Yeah. That's just always bothered me in storytelling, just like in movies all the time, the shoulder injury that the hero just shrugs off, getting shot in the shoulder with a bullet. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
you can't move your arm.
No. All of the muscle connections are now torn.
Yeah.
Just doing this.
That arm is now hanging by your side, useless.
Yep.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy used to have a bit, like the guy gets shot in the shoulder and is, I'm hit. Go on without me. Because if a guy gets shot in real life, he's gonna go, ah.
Who was it that had the joke about someone pulling a gun on you? It was either Eddie Murphy or George Carlin, and like your hands jump behind your back. Like someone waves a gun at you, you think you're going to be a hero. You're not a hero. It may have been Eddie Murphy. Someone pulls a gun on you, you're like, he doesn't even have to ask you to raise your hands. They'll jump behind your back. Want me to tie myself up? Just a little soldier boo-boo. Yeah, it's a shoulder boo-boo. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like the knife. It's a little stomach boo-boo.
Yeah, nothing. I'll make my way all the way back to my own apartment with it and pass out, but my buddy will save me by putting a pad of paper over it. Nope, you need a surgeon. But a lot of storytelling in all sorts of different medium don't seem to understand what being stabbed means. That's why I always like to remember that scene in Spartacus when the gladiator trainer is explaining to the new gladiators exactly what getting stabbed means. If you hit him here, he's dead. If you hit him here, he's not dead. If you hit him here, he's dead, but just he might have enough time to kill you. Those are the 3 spots.
Yeah.
Right. I was just also watching a video by somebody. There's something historical European martial arts. HEMA, I think it's called. And it's people who get swords and get the old manuals and figure out exactly how people fought each other back in medieval times. And it's not a style. It's not. And the guy I was watching is like, I just want to get young men to stop playing video games and get out here and we'll study some swordsmanship. And he was like, sword fights are nothing like you see in the movies. They're really short and they're not fought. There's not big flashy movement with the sword. It's mostly subtle movements with the sword. And the whole thing is you're trying not to die. And so it was interesting. And they said the sword, it wasn't even a main battlefield weapon. Those were pikes and pole arms.
Right, because with pikes you can't hit from a distance.
Yeah.
Which made them more important than
a sword.
Yeah. And pikes were not for throwing.
No. I can still remember, what was it? It was some movie about the American Revolution. May have even been Revolution. I can't remember but there was in the they had the Revolutionary battles, and the Americans were mostly farmers. So they weren't exactly battle hardened and battle ready. And, the British had a professional army. But there was even this one guy who was like the current, whoever was the leader of the battalion or whatever. And he had a pole arm. So whenever like they fired their guns and then they got into fight with bayonets or whatever. He was fighting with a pole arm, and he was just killing Americans left and right because none of them knew how to defend themselves against a man with a pole arm. And it was kind of shocking to see. You never see that in movies. And he was just like casually walking up and stabbing. He knew what he was doing. He was the only one who knew what he was doing with the, out on the battlefield. So it was like, oh my God, those guys are just getting slaughtered.
Yeah, I saw some of this, not from that guy, but a real documentary on how they use the sword upside down in the hilt as a weapon at times.
Yes. Yeah, the same guy was showing that too. That's called half swording. When you had a long sword, and you were fighting an armored opponent, war doesn't have glory. You were fighting an armored opponent, you would do what's called half sword, which means you weren't holding on the hilt anymore. You were holding halfway through your sword and another hand on the hilt, where you were trying to stab him in the neck or under the arm or in any of his. And sometimes you could whip around the pommel to use it as a blunt instrument too. So that's what half swording was. But that's when you were fighting an armored opponent. You can't get through by slashing at the armor.
Using a hilt to stab someone in the face would be brutal. People with the faces as knights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started watching videos from a guy. It looks like AI doing it, but it's an actual person. Medieval crazy history, and I started with the early videos because they're trying to be a bit generic and poetic. But it's okay if you were in a fight in the medieval ages, you'd be dead.
Yeah. Just like, what was it? Last of the Mohicans, the one with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Was the only time I saw American Indians using a tomahawk with an actual fighting style. I forget which character was, but he was one of the Mohicans, I guess, Mohawks. And I can't, but he would use that. He was killing people with that tomahawk, but he actually, because usually all we ever got in movies was Indians going like this and charging at you with a tomahawk raised as they got shot. That was like the most you ever saw any native fight with a tomahawk in American Westerns. But in that one, Last of the Mohicans, it was a deadly weapon.
Yeah, whenever we see somebody using something that looks like a battle axe, and tomahawk is a battle axe, it's usually somebody charging, holding the
and getting stabbed or shot or something.
Yeah,
it's like, no,
I'm guessing plenty died of it. Yeah, that's if you were, because most swords actually couldn't really get through with a frontal charge on the chainmail. The swords couldn't get through. But if you somehow cut something that was exposed from accidentally, okay, sepsis, but you're dead.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect Conan because Conan is a character with an impossible set of skills.
Yep, he's a superhero.
I met people in Germany that by their 4th year in college, they had at least one duel and some facial scars with these friends.
Oh, man.
Well, Oktoberfest. Now, Oktoberfest is too commercial now.
What other comics did you get this week, Wilson?
So some comics that I got this week, we have...
Since I showed my 2.
G.I. Joe issue 15.
The Dreadnought War. Ooh, is that the head of...
we have the head, or Cobra at least Commander? The helmet, maybe, of Cobra Commander.
They want us to think it's the head because there's blood coming out.
Maybe. We also have Godzilla issue number 5.
Is this just regular old Godzilla?
This is his regular title.
Oh, you know who he's fighting? You remember the one issue of Spectacular Spider-Man by John Byrne? The Ringer?
Yeah, I remember that book.
That was a really good one issue. Too bad he didn't take it over.
Let's see, what else do we have? Transformers, issue number 27. It's a great cover with Soundwave on there.
There's a Daniel Warren Johnson art book that just came out.
Oh, is there? I
I
did
saw
not see
somebody
it on.
showing it off. I think it was a Kickstarter, but now it might be more widely available.
Oh, okay. I have to take a look to see if I can find it. This is the closest to a trashy cover I would say I have. And this is Absolute Batman issue number 15 with a naked Joker on the cover.
Ah, that everyone was buying that one this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like the idea that it's a Joker.
Yeah, but they're just doing whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just this is their, it's Absolute Batman. This is their
Yeah.
alternate Spider-Man, the Spider-Man, the whole type of
The
in-your-face
lizard being
superhero.
more mean, and those Ultimate books, they're taking this even more than the Ultimate books. Green
Yeah.
Goblin got meaner.
Yeah, they're getting extreme with everything. Very 90s thinking.
It's very juvenile for me because okay, let's change it's that thing. Wouldn't it be cool if? Well, no, not necessarily.
And
It's
the interior has this weird kind of dull look to it because I guess it's all flashbacks.
the absolute universe is for people like who really don't want to go away from their standard comics, but want to read something new. They don't want to read indie comics. They want to read Batman. Even if it's not really Batman.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It looks like that. What's that manga, Devilman? That an anime called Devilman, where people just randomly turn into demons.
Yeah, it's very much so in that vein. And then the last comic book that I have here is
Body
Amazing
horror.
Spider-Man issue number 17.
Well, I don't understand a damn thing that's going on there.
From what I hear, is Spider-Man in space, which is very
Really?
divisive. Yep, because Spider-Man shouldn't be in space.
Spider-Man in space.
Other than that, I don't know what's going on, and I only know that because someone at the comic book shop happened to mention it. And if you got 3D glasses, you could see that page.
Whoa.
That looks like it's made for 3D.
Yeah.
Because you could tell from the cyan and magenta there. And there's I think an alternate cover of some of the Marvel books that are in 3D. Here's another page. Is Rocket Raccoon. Because he can't be in space if you don't check in with the Guardians at some point.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, space is a small place. You bump into the same people all the time.
Yes, exactly. And the book I pulled off the shelf is G-Fan Magazine.
Ah, okay.
So it's the longest running fan magazine of Godzilla. I usually have a subscription because they only do 4 a year. But sometimes when I'm not paying attention to it,
they sneak one in.
They sneak in. It's like, oh, okay. So it is a nice magazine that I've always enjoyed that pretty much talks about the fandom of the Godzilla movies and other kaiju movies, and they go into details. It's a magazine that a lot of the writers are fans who will put together a story, and it looks like this one is focusing on other Godzilla fanzines over the years.
I did do a song of Space Godzilla in the AI website.
Oh yeah,
it's not very good. It's a power pop version of what would be a cartoon theme show. I asked it to be inspired by 1970s Japan, and but I don't know. It just gave me power pop with some lame lyrics. Okay, the WJ book was a Kickstarter, but you can still get it through Flesk. Okay,
I don't even know what Flesk is.
they're the ones who they did a lot of art books with.
Oh, they're the publisher.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the video I saw had mentioned that. Now that I'm reminded.
If DC went 50% digital, would it negatively affect their sales?
Yeah. There are plenty of people who want paper.
Yeah, exactly. It's if you're buying it paper, you're not bothering with digital. If you're buying it digital, you're not planning with paper. So, each person has their own preferences. The only reason why I have digital comics is because they were given to me free in the comic books themselves. So, because I get the digital comics from Marvel, is because I go and I open it up and I pull out the tab and I download the book. I don't read them because it's just something that's available to me, and so I get them just to have them.
Right.
But you still have people prefer paper. So I do not see a company at this moment going full digital or full print. They're just getting another shot of getting the money.
In any case, Netflix definitely don't care about the comic shops, and even without Netflix, the guys in DC don't care about the comic shops either.
By the way, that deal is a long way from going through.
Yeah,
because now that Paramount's involved and trying to do a hostile takeover. And I'm so upset I sold all my Warner Brothers stocks a few weeks back. I only had a handful of it, but it was like, oh, I need to get some money. So it's like, okay, I'll sell this. And all of a sudden it went from me. I think I sold them at like $18. Now they're like $29. And it's like, But I needed the money.
This is Vertigo starting again in January. Yeah, but that was planned a while ago, even before all of this.
I just saw the books though. One of them is going to be by what's his name, Sean Phillips's son. Who right now is doing book. He's done indie books, but this is the first. He's good. That was the one book I was interested in when I saw it because how come I can't remember his first name? He's doing The Dead and the Dying right now.
Right now, it's just called The Absolute Line, not Batman and not Superman. No, not in a year. I think they'll still be looking out for some of those titles. Maybe issues number 1. Maybe the other ones will become filler.
Yeah, you'll be able to find like Absolute Green Lantern and Absolute Martin Manhunter.
Yeah, but Batman will still people will still look for that one.
Yeah, because can you find you can't find like New 52 Batman in the dollar bin.
Of course, yeah. Netflix is going to. I think DC are going to try to are going to try to hide in the corporate structure until Netflix or Paramount or whoever buys them notices that they're there.
Yeah,
which might take up to a year. But yeah, they don't care about the comics. What the comic people have to explain to the bigwigs, we don't make that much money, but we are an idea lab that pays for itself, which R&D departments usually don't. R&D departments do a lot of stuff that just loses money, and they're all looking for that one idea that makes it a lot of money. But in comics, even if you only make one successful movie out of your 500 pitches, all of those 500 pitches will at least pay for lunch for that day. So they won't be losing money. Vertigo would be cool, but how does how does it work? Some kind of message with the not supposed to work. The problem is, it's the activists are not very smart, and in order to, it's not the question that they're of their political persuasion. It's a question of how intelligent and well read they're supposed to be, and most of the people who might get hired to do Vertigo nowadays are not very smart or interesting people.
I don't even know what that question means.
Yeah. When the son of Sean Phillips is already publishing comics, I know I'm getting old.
And he's good. I mean, he's had time to get good.
Hey, when I found out that the guy who did Captain America after Paul Neary, was John Bird's stepson.
Kieran Dwyer?
Kieran Dwyer, yeah. And when I found it, wait, John Byrne has a stepson? DC's English are not going away. That's what people said about Marvel with Disney, and that didn't happen. Yeah, I was expecting Marvel to stop producing comics. Yeah, it didn't happen. So yeah, if you explain the economics of publishing to the corporate people, it's an R&D department that doesn't lose money on anything.
Don't forget, comics have been dying since the 50s.
Because that's what Batman is ever. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, I've seen TikTok.
Only Stranger Things series might save comics because all the characters read comics in the series.
There already is a Stranger Things series. It hasn't saved anyone. I think who puts it out? IDW?
No, it's not that. They read comics in the TV series. So the fact that they read comics in the TV series is supposed to get people interested.
Yeah, I get it. I thought he was talking like Star Wars saved Marvel in the late 70s.
Jacob Phillips is doing the art for
that is, they say.
The Peril of the Brutal Dark.
Okay.
They did a Texas Blood in the Enfield Gang Massacre.
Yeah. Those two I picked up a couple issues of and wasn't really into the story, but I liked Jacob Phillips' art. I think their latest, his latest one, The Dead and the Dying, is really, that one I'm really enjoying. I think the third issue is out, or the fourth issue is out next week.
Yeah, the Barstool. Yeah, exactly. If you remember when Shooter raised everybody's rates, and then everybody started making better comics. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, at today's page rates, you get idiots doing comics. What you expect?
Yeah. Comic series is awful. I'd believe that.
I don't care. They're being published in European format over here. That doesn't make any sense.
And I did not pick it up, but I was surprised to see a new issue of Mad Magazine on the stands.
I think it's all reprints.
Is it? Okay, I didn't get to look through it, but it was
I think they're doing an every now and then reprint book.
Oh, okay. Because it was like the cover had the Spy versus Spy characters on the covers. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. There's a Mad Magazine, but I didn't pick it up or look through it. So I wasn't sure if they're publishing new material or if they're just reprinting some stuff.
Mad Magazine became obsolete because it wasn't trashy enough.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There was nothing dangerous about Mad Magazine in a long, long time.
Or funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for DC, the kids read Marvel comics. One of the references was the Dark Phoenix saga. Well, the references will depend on which studio is making the TV series. You'll notice that in the Big Bang Theory, they only showed DC Comics.
Yep.
Because the series was owned by Warner.
One other thing I want to mention, because I think I forgot to mention it, is this series that I got the first issue of, Die Loaded. Who's doing it? Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans, right, and Clayton Cowles. This came out like a month. I think the second issue is coming out next week. And I showed this off when I got it a month ago, but I never bought the first series. So I downloaded some, there's 4 trade paperbacks and read it on the train as I was riding. I think it was 20 issues. And it was really good. And I reread number 1 again and, could understand it a little bit better. Not that I couldn't understand it before reading the first series, but Die is a series of, like I said, the first volume was 20 issues, same creative team, Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans, Clayton Cowles. In the very first issue, we find out that these 6 kids disappear one day. And then they show up like a year later. And there was some cover story, but what really happened was they were sucked into this role-playing world, this world outside our world that was like based on role-playing games. And then the first series is about 20 years after that. I think they're around 40. They get sucked back into this world. So that's what the main series was about, was them being trapped. Oh, I forgot to mention that of the 6, 1 didn't come back when they were kids. So they never knew what happened to them. So they're trapped in this weird role-playing world where there's magic and all sorts of creatures and stuff like that. And they're trying to survive, and they're trying to get out of this world. And they figure out that somehow and in order to get out of the world, they all have to be together and say, let's get out of this. We want to go home now, or something like that. But a couple of them don't necessarily want to say that. So they end up like splitting up and have to come out. And so there's this whole like, as they're adults, I hesitate to call it an adventure because most of them were pretty miserable in this role-playing world. And there was like a game master who's like the god of and they all also, they have powers, but their powers come from gods. Like when you're, like, say you're rolling a D&D character, you have to pick, they have to pick which gods they wanted to be their gods. And then the gods can grant them favors, but then they have to give the gods something back in return, which isn't always good. So they've got these powers. Everybody has powers. It was really well done. And of course, at the end of volume 1, they get out of the world. So in this, in volume 2, they're back in the regular world, but then things happen. And it's like they don't go back to the world, but a couple of people they know do. So this might be a whole different group of people related to the first group back in this Die world. We don't know what our heroes from the first, but it's really well done. Good series. I'll see if I don't have to track down the original issues now. Mm-hmm.
The boys can be trashy. Same with Hannes is the Pro.
See, I don't know that the Pro was trashy, even though it was more using the trashy aesthetic. But you're right, Gar. The boys can be. I don't want to accuse it of not being trashy.
Right.
Because that's kind of its raison d'etre, but I don't know how trashy it. You don't have to hide the Pro from someone who comes over.
No,
you can leave that out, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, it's superheroes saying, oh, okay."
It's not even superheroes. I mean, it's jokes about superheroes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's what you point out of it, is that it's a satire of superheroes doing this.
Good point.
Yeah, if it's Garth Ennis doing superheroes, that he doesn't like superheroes, and I don't understand why people for years kept badgering him to do them. Yeah.
You pay the bill.
But it's kind of obvious. I mean, you read his Punisher, and it's obvious because you have Spider-Man and Wolverine guest starring, and he makes fun of them.
Oh, one thing I should show you guys. You know these Spider-Man Magic the Gathering cards that
Yes.
I've gotten over the last few weeks. Well, here we go. This is a whole bunch of Spider-Man Magic the Gathering cards. Let me show you the dimension. Aranya, Heart of the Spider.
I remember that.
Spider-Woman, Stunning Savior. Ultimate Green Goblin. Silk, Web Warrior. And these are all the ones that are rarer and harder to get, even though they're like $2 a card. But I didn't pay it. Black Cat, Cunning Thief. Agent Venom. Morlun, Devourer of Spiders.
Marlon, Spider-Man's best villain.
Lady Octopus, Inspired Inventor. Spider Sense. The Clone Saga gets its own card. Lizard, Connor's Curse. Strength of Will, based on that famous Steve Ditko panel. Sandman. Shifting Scoundrel. Master Weaver, Web Protector. I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Shadow of the Goblin. Electro, Assaulting Battery. And Peter Parker. All right, that's all I'll show you. But like I said, I was paying like $2 for this card, so I said, let me see if I can get a lot of cards. And usually, when I get a lot of Magic the Gathering cards, and I don't mean a and lot, I mean a and then the word lot. They, it's usually like they're called penny cards. And it's like 1,000 cards for maybe $30. But since the Spider-Man was new and I wanted them specifically, I was looking at, but like, a lot, and most people sell like their Magic the Gathering cards, like almost all collectible trading card games have like commons, uncommons, and rares. So it's like you get one rare a pack. So people like buy multiple packs just to get the rares and then sell the commons and uncommons that they don't necessarily want. So I was looking and I just saw this one guy who had like 600 cards. And he said like a bunch of Final Fantasy, a bunch of Spider-Man. And you really couldn't see what cards they were. And I also like to go. No, we were discussing that earlier. We don't think she's that trashy. Mm-hmm. She's more poppy. But anyway, I also like to look at where the cards are coming from, and sometimes I'll buy them if it's close by or whatever. And then this guy happened to be in some town in Western New York. I clicked on it, and it was like population 600. And I was like, this is probably a guy just getting rid of some cards that he bought and I don't know, doesn't want them anymore. So, and sure enough, it was. And I know that because all the rare cards were in it. If I were to buy a normal lot, it wouldn't have all the rare cards in it. So I spent about $34 on 600 cards. About a couple of hundred of them were the Spider-Man cards, including all the rare cards, like these ones I just showed you. So I'm like, cool. I was like, these are not expensive. They're about $2 a piece. But I got 19 of them. Nice. So what the heck? And plus all these other ones. But it's fun.
Tit Goblin who finally shows up.
Welcome.
90s kid me is in disbelief that in 2025 people are actively collecting Spider-Man clone saga cards for Magic.
He's back in Pog form.
Well, we still have to bring back the Pogs. Maybe we should.
Someone's trying to. Mm-hmm. I've seen little rumblings about people talking about Pogs.
Could we do? Could we do fake Pogs?
Fake Pogs?
I have a Pog maker.
You do?
I have a Pog maker somewhere around here from the 90s where you could buy the Pog sheets and then you basically find whatever image you need and you can make it from that. So I haven't seen the damn thing in decades, but I know I do have a Pog maker around here somewhere. And I still have some Pogs. I have some uncut sheets of Pogs for Savage Dragon. Last time I checked, I think they were worth $75 on eBay. And I know I have some Marvel Pogs in within this mess of my place.
I was just about to say I don't have any Pogs, but then I remembered the only Pogs I have were in the late 90s. I collected like Matchbox and Johnny Lightning cars because it was kind of fun. I was broke and they were cheap.
Yeah. Back when
And
Johnny Lightning was cheap.
yeah, they were the expensive ones. They were like $3.
Yeah.
The Matchbox ones were $1. The Johnny Lightnings were $3, but they were like all metal.
Yeah.
And some of them came with Pogs.
We need to know where Tit Goblin will dolphin that trashy cover. Bring it out again so we can show it to Tit Goblin.
We were discussing the nature of trashiness because I bought this trashy cover. I love it.
So where does the dolphin go?
Where does the dolphin go? Christian Ward alternate cover. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We have yet to come to a conclusion.
Yeah. Couple of pillows behind her. Is that the moon? No, that's yeah, trying to figure out the motif. It's got that big, like, there's the moon up in the corner, I think, up here. This big oval thing that's just a motif with some like clouds on it. I don't know if it's supposed to be anything specific. I guess Tit Goblin's not watching anymore. He doesn't know where to put the dolphin.
So I think it was last week or before that, I talked about that book.
Yeah. The dolphin goes in the
bubblegum bubble.
Oh, like it's floating within the bubble.
So we can say that the girl is blowing the dolphin.
The dolphin will be like nose to tail, like a yin yang symbol.
Dolphin, the bubblegum, or the
no, the dolphin in the bubblegum. That's the atmosphere it has to live in. So
we definitely made it even trashier with the dolphin.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Like I said, wherever we put the dolphin, it's going to be more trash to it.
Yeah, considering the French came up with the dolphin so that it wasn't trashy. I mean, carrying a woman in your arms is trashy to the French.
So a few weeks back, I was talking about buying a book at Barnes and Nobles and passing on it. And it turned out that even though I passed on that particular book, I ended up finding another book just like it. And it's basically, they're listed it under coloring books. But what they are, they're reprints of comic book covers. From a time period where, you could go ahead and basically reprint covers without getting in trouble with them. And
they're all public domain.
Exactly. And I both enjoy this and hate it at the same time. Design-wise, they picked the wrong fonts. The eyes have it's the wrong eyes on the cover. It's supposed to be lowercase, not the crossing. And even the logo itself is just a bit not right.
It's not very well designed.
Not very well designed. Even the back has the kind of like these designs that it's like, clip art maybe.
Oh yeah, that's
to make
definitely
that.
generic bursts.
Yes, and again, the font is not correct. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a one of those free comic like
Yeah.
font. It might even be Comic Sans. But the interiors are beautifully rendered black
Oh
and
wow,
whites that are really
that's nicely
well
printed.
reprinted. Yes. So the inside front cover has some of the original colors. You can see what they look like. But the book itself, again, are completely beautiful in how
Yeah.
sharp they are. They're not pixelated. And so, at least design wise, the cover design, someone did it for free. But the
Yeah.
interiors, if they spent money on anything, I think they spent money on getting those interiors nice and sharp
Yeah, I'm getting some
and
nice artwork.
beautiful looking. Yes. So, again, this is one of those things where it's some great artwork. Cover copy is on there.
Hey, is that
So,
cover trashy?
no, not this one. It could almost be trashy.
Yeah. You could see why comics were considered trashy back in those days.
Now here you go. This is almost trashy.
Uh-huh.
They were definitely trashy for the time they came out.
Yeah, so those might have been trashy enough. There we go. Many of the I would say the detective stories covers rise that line of the femme fatale being kind of trashy.
Mhm. But now we find it quaint.
Yes. But back then, Torchy might have been making people angry. A
Yeah.
girl to keep your eye on.
Yeah, those are definitely much better quality than I would expect them to be.
Yes. I'm really happy that I found this, and it's like, I do
What store
plan
did you
to.
get it at?
This I got it at Barnes and Nobles.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, because I remember the way they have that type of labels on it.
Exceptional value. Right over her feet.
Originally, let's see, does it say the actual original price on the back? It does not. But here's the ISBN if anyone ever wants to actually search it out. Let's see if we get that clear on there.
Clear as we're gonna get it.
Okay. So let's see if I can find trashy cover. Close. Just married.
And now the husband's complaining that she's too sexy. Why are you painting my wife? Only I get to look at her in the bikini.
Tit Goblin asks, how would they get the rights to do that coloring book? Those are some odd covers grouping wise. They're probably all in the public domain. They didn't get the
Yeah,
rights.
it would have to be in the public domain, and I'm more interested in how did they get these so sharp.
Yeah.
Where did they get the images from?
Where did they get the black plate?
Yeah.
Because those don't look like they were scanned from a comic book and cleaned up.
No, they do not. They look like they may be coming right from the black plate. Maybe someone bought a slew of them.
That could be. There was that guy in the 80s who was publishing old comics from the 50s.
And I know
Yeah.
Mort Todd had bought a lot of stats of Charlton comics.
Yep. So it could very
Wonder
well
what
be
happened to them.
because let's see, Metro Books is the publisher, and There's nothing here that kind of indicates what could have been, where the artwork could have come from.
Yeah.
Like, there's no story to what this is, historical wise. It's being sold as a coloring book. But pretty cool.
Classic comic book coloring book.
Yep. And they did quite a few of these. I don't think if there was any particular theme for the other ones or even this one. It's just that, whatever they were able to find and
Yeah.
again, they just put together whatever they had. So I like it. It's pretty cool. I got to see if I either will make copies of them and then scan them in and computer color them, or get whatever, I forget the name of the paper that we used to use at Marvel for the color guides, but I don't know if it was Bond. It was a thicker paper than the regular copy paper that we used to use. There was a name for it, and I can't recall the name, but I could get that and like maybe redo some color guides and color it with that palette.
Okay.
We need a series of Cavern of Chaos Pogs illustrated by Ted Goblin. I won't say that, but we definitely need magic cards of Jared's adventures in the supermarket.
What we need is Magic the Gathering cards for dolphins. The dolphins and the rare ones would be the flamingos.
I actually thought about making a few pogs this week, but finishing my art cards killed me.
Yes, Tit Goblin found out that just because art cards were smaller, they weren't any faster than bigger things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep. I've done a ton of sketch cards over the years, and whew.
The bonus card has to be a name agent. Yeah.
A Stan Bunch aim agent.
Oh, yeah. Rare, hard to find.
Yeah, after having only 2 comics this week, I think I have about 10 next week.
Oh, okay.
Oh, but according to, what's that, Legion of Geeks, where I also keep track of my comics now, too, for some reason, because it's fun. This isn't coming out till next week. So, I don't know why it was out this week then, but it's on my pull week for my pull list for next week. Weirdly. Have you ever used that site?
No,
Wilson?
I have not. What
What
was
is
the
the
name of the
name?
site?
Legion of Geeks or something like that? It's just for like keeping track of your pull list and comics and stuff. I think comic shops can sign up for it. Yeah. League of Comic Geeks. That's it. League of Comic Geeks. But I just use it to
Let's
see what's coming out. And even though I get my email telling me what's coming out. I've taken to using that too. Though it doesn't have a lot of deep indie. Its indie book bench isn't that deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the indie books you'd expect, but not real indie stuff.
Mm-hmm. No Outlaw Comics.
Okay.
No Outlaw Comics, yeah.
Here's a funny thing. So even though I don't consciously use it, I do have an account on it. I've used it at some time. Oh wait, here it says didn't log in, so maybe I don't. It might have maybe it automatically.
I thought you had an account. Now you don't.
You know what? Maybe I do, and I have to look into it because I probably signed on to it at some point and didn't think about it and never went back to it.
Or coloring books with your flamingos and dolphin color versions.
No, we'll have to redraw everything. That's too much work. LCG says I have 8 books.
That's a goodly amount. Is that average for you, high or low?
$40.
I would say 7 or 8 is probably average for me these days. somewhere around there. I have to examine it. Maybe I'll put in a chart and see. Put her in a chart.
We'll see.
All
So
right.
I
Okay.
think I talked about everything I wanted to talk about tonight. I
Yeah,
have a
we
lot
have.
of stuff.
Mhm.
Between Watchmen and trashy comics, we got a lot of mileage out of those two.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I've been rereading the trade paperback with Alan Moore's DCU stories,
Ah,
and there's a little bit of I never quite paid attention to the vigilante story,
yeah, I don't think I have either.
and this is the story's quite iconoclastic because the vigilante. A supporting character steals the show. The vigilante doesn't do much, and in the end, the story ends in a way that the bad guy's shot by the supporting character, and yeah, in the supporting character goes, "Is this what everybody wanted?"
I stuck this in my to be reread pile.
Oh
Just because
yeah,
I want to reread it again.
that is a good story.
It's been
Yes.
there for a little while, but I'll get to it. This is an excellent one of my favorite Superman stories.
Bird.
Gibbons and Alan Moore,
Mm.
1985.
I believe my copy has a whole corner ripped off because I end up finding it in, like, I think I bought a stack of comics from somewhere, and that was one of the books in it. And it's like, oh, this would have been a great find because, like,
Yeah.
it might have been a grab bag even, like one of
Yeah,
those $10 grab bags from back in the day, okay, at least 20 years ago, if not more. And it was like, oh, that would have been a great pull of a grab bag. And it's like, but that issue is
that's
damaged.
why it was in the grab
And
bag.
that's exactly why it was in the grab bag, because it would never have sold otherwise.
Yeah. Well, we should let Paolo get to bed now.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're wrapping up. Let's have some balloons
Woohoo! Some balloons
and confetti,
and confetti. All sorts
but
of good stuff.
but no rain. The rain is done over here.
Let's see which one was rain. Double thumbs down. There's
There
some
you go.
rain.
Mhm.
I'm all wet now.
And next week is the pre-Christmas show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be on my
Yeah.
channel next week.
Mm-hmm. And we won't be talking Christmas. We'll be talking trashy. So it'll be a Christmas. It'll be a trashy Christmas.
We'll see if we can find some more trashy comics.
There we go.
All right. Thank you for stopping by and discussing our alternative theories about everything. And we will see you next week on Jared's channel. Bye-bye.